tuned into another episode of Not the Average Local Rapper, hosted by yours truly, Short Rich. This episode, I'm gonna talk about something I think a lot of us can relate to these days. The way shit is designed now with music and just the world in general. I think a lot of us that do music, we all kind of doing the same thing. A lot of us is just rocking solo. We sit in our rooms or sitting wherever we at, and you know what I mean. We just doing it by ourselves and shit. Not that's not everybody. There still is a lot of people out here. Still doing the collaborative efforts and shit. But from what I can see though, just from being on social media and shit, a lot of things, a lot of the content I see is just artists and producers and just content creators in general, just tend to be by themselves, just creating whatever we creating. And I think, we are in a time, like I said, where like a lot of people just doing it by themselves. And, that can be a challenge, especially, when you're early into it. And, I've been doing it by myself for a long time. I have, had like the group situation, the squad, whatever you call it. And I can't really, say if it was good or bad, but I guess it's a little bit of both, just depending on what angle you look at it from. But I look at where I'm at now, I'm just kind of, back to doing most of this shit by myself, which is how I started, which is probably, how I'm going to end with it. I'm assuming, but, maybe not. Maybe, I will have like a solid team come along, in time. Kind of hard to say, but I think, just what I've learned from, doing a lot of things by myself over the years, like, looking at it now, I think, the most important thing, for artists and producers is to, focus on, making your music first. Like, there's a lot of things that need to be done. That shit can be overwhelming even thinking about it, because it runs, way past the music part of it, the making the music and all that. You got the whole business side of it, the whole, promotion and just a lot of shit that come with that. And you know, like I said, this shit can be overwhelming because it's shit that's got to get done outside of making the music. But I think it's just important to focus on the music first because you can't do none of this other shit, or wouldn't be no point in doing the other shit if the music wasn't already there. So you definitely just got to focus on making the music and making sure that's up to par and where you need it to be, and it's marketable and all that for what you're trying to do and all that. And that should just be the main mission right there, is just making sure the music is good first, and then from there I think at certain points it'll be different things, but like I just try to identify the other roles, that I'm willing to fill, that need to be filled outside of, just being an artist. Like, as far as artists, like you might, end up being your own producer as well, end up making your own beats, which is what a lot of artists are doing these days. And some of them is working for and some of them is not. I think, you definitely got to know when it's time to, go to outside sources, but, you might be your own beat maker, or you might be your own engineer, like I am in my case. I do have other people I work with, that do the mixing and mastering and shit sometimes. But as far as my music that I release, I engineer my own shit, from recording myself to doing the mixing and mastering, so to speak. You know, for the past probably couple years now, almost. I probably say I've been doing my own cover arts and shit, for my singles and my EPs and shit. I've been, doing that because going to a graphic designer, like that's cool, especially when it comes to certain things. Like, I got my logos done for this podcast, and also, my artist logo done by the same person, a cat from around the way and shit. That somebody I know ended up, promoting, and I ended up hollering at him, and he did good business. So, it's cool to definitely have them outside connections for certain things. But we just in a time where like a lot of things can just be done yourself. Like I said, the beats, the engineering, the graphics. People shooting their own videos. I actually shot my own video for the first time recently. Wasn't a full song, it was like half the song, but I was like, I can see, where the shit takes a lot of work, especially, when you doing the real deal, so I think, like, but I mean, I don't think all those roles are to be filled by you. I think, you definitely gotta find certain outside sources. You don't want to try to do everything, because you're gonna overpower your plate, and that's just never gonna work to your benefit. You know what I mean? You're always gonna leave shit on the plate. So and if you do, take everything on the plate, then it's not gonna really, you're not really gonna be able to put your all in the what you really need to put it into and shit. So just identifying whatever roles it is that you're willing to play, and after that, just it's really about utilizing and organizing your time towards them specific tasks. If you're gonna do the do your videos, or do your beats, then you set a time aside to do that. To separate from being an artist, because if you mix all that shit together, you might not really get anything done. You might just be doing a whole lot of small tasks that really lead to nothing, because you keep jumping from making a beat, and then you want to write to the beat, and then you want to make another beat, and then you want to go shoot a video for something that you did. And like, if you don't really organize it and have it set up a certain way, then you could really, just find yourself not really staying locked in on one thing for too long, which isn't really efficient towards production. So definitely would recommend, just organizing time. However much time you have, just trying to organize it to where you can put enough time into everything that you need to get done. And like I was saying, you don't want to try to do everything, so it's important to definitely, like, build like relationships with people that do other things. Like me, I got a lot of beat makers, that rock with me. Shout out to all of them. It's quite a few to name, but if you rocking with me, you already know. Like, I appreciate you, and I've been getting work done with a lot of them, and you know what I mean. Like I had, at one point in time, I had, some graphic designers, on speed dial, I guess you could say, figuratively. You know what I mean? But like I said, that's something that I ended up deciding to do myself. Not even so much for the saving money, which of course, that is like probably like the top thing, but also just because I feel like it's a good skill for me to have, you know what I mean? It's something that, and it's something I enjoy doing, you know what I mean? Shit's fun to me, trying to, create a cover for the next project that I got going on. You know what I mean? So it's cool to have, these other roles that you gotta fill, because it helps you build skills with other shit. But at the same time, like I say, you just don't want to take too much from being an artist if that's your main goal. But so definitely, like I said, building relationships is important, and just looking for, services and shit that you can utilize that you may not want to do a cover for a certain project, or you may want somebody to shoot a video for you. So, it's always important to have knowledge about, who you can go to that's in your area, or who you can deal with through the internet if you need to, shit like that. But it's definitely some pros in the doing things by yourself. You pretty much just have freedom to do whatever it is you want to do with your music and your content, because there's really nobody else that has any say on it. So that's definitely one of the pros of that. And with that comes creative control. Like you can just do things the way you need to do them and how you comfortable doing them. Like nobody can really contest it, because you're doing it by yourself. You can do things on your own time. Schedules can be conflicting. When you're working with other people, or other people, may not, work at the same pace as you and shit like that. So, it's definitely cool, when you can do things on your own time. And then, of course, you'll own all the credit to what you make, when you do things by yourself. You know what I mean? So I think, it's definitely, some good things about, doing things by yourself, on your music and shit. But it's also, some cons that come with that as well. Lacking the resources to get certain things done, it's times where, I'm like, I really wish I had, this, within reach, or, somebody that had this skill. But, you just never know who you're going to meet along the way. That's why I said it's important to build relationships with people, and just remain humble and, always keep an open mind, because you never know, who can be a big part of your journey and shit. And that's just life in general. You know what I mean? Just, lacking the time, you know what I mean? Like I said, like time is a really important thing when it comes to being productive. So it's like, the more help you have, or the more, the more productive people that you have around you, and in your network, you know what I mean, you can utilize your time a little better, and focus on one specific thing, which is being an artist. In my case, and a lot of other people's case, but they just happen to have to do other things because they got to be done. But if you lack, those resources and that time, you know what I mean, then that can definitely be a challenge. Also, overworking yourself, if you don't have other people to share the workload with, you know what I mean. So it's like I said, come back to you don't want to overpower your plate. You know what I mean. You want to be able to alleviate yourself as much as possible of the work that need to be done, and just sometimes you need that feedback and them suggestions from others. You know what I mean. It's almost like when you need to get a second opinion on something, or like you need to you counting something, you need somebody to count behind you just to make sure like shit's good or whatever. When you're working by yourself, there really ain't too much of that. Like especially like when you're doing music in a certain environment. Like there's been times I've been in the studio with artists, and we kind of ping pong ideas and shit, and like working with another artist or working with a producer, that really know what they doing, or an engineer, or whatever the case may be. That shit can really be helpful and shit. But when you're working by yourself, it's kind of like you just gotta go off your own better judgment. But all in all, I think like I said in the beginning of this episode, I think, you know, a lot of people are working by themselves now, you know, doing this music shit alone. That's how I started, you know what I mean? I said a couple episodes ago, you know, like um, a long time friend of mine, you know, is who kind of, you know, introduced me to getting on, you know, like this music shit. But you know, once he ended up moving away and going to college and shit, I was, you know, on my own with the shit, and I just pretty much started, you know, teaching myself a lot of shit about it. And I think, you know, that's another main thing. You know, you when you're doing stuff by yourself, you definitely want to, like, you know, learn and study this shit as much as you can. I watch, you know, a good bit of YouTube tutorials, and you know, I Google shit, and you know what I mean, just try to get as much information as possible. So it's like, even though you're working by yourself, you're not really working by yourself, because there's so many content makers out here, you know, making helpful and useful information. You know what I mean, for people to you know, get whatever they need and get whatever info they lack. And so shout out, you know, to all the YouTube creators out there that put this information out there for us, man. But you know, it's definitely not impossible to do it by yourself. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of people that have, you know, it's just because when you're doing it by yourself and people see the potential in you, then they're gonna want to start dealing with you, and it's up to you to decide, you know, who can be beneficial to you and who wouldn't be. You know, but that's the next step in that. You know, that's a whole nother phase right there. But yeah, you know, I think it's just about, you know, like preparation and dedication. Honestly, you know, didn't even mean to rhyme like that, but yeah, for real though. That's what that's about. So if you listen to this and you on your journey, you know, alone, shit can be, you know, frustrating and discouraging at times, but it's like, you know, you just gotta remember not to put too much on yourself, but at the same time, learn as much as you can as you're going along. You know, because it'll benefit you in the long run, and it's about a balance of those two things right there. But this has been another episode of Not the Average Local Rapper, hosted by yours truly, East Shore Ridge. If you made it this far, I appreciate you listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.